Coach, I'm going to just open up if you're good with that.
Yeah, no, just, first day in the books, and it was good. We'll go right to questions, but I just wanted to say, we don't take for granted the fact that it's first day of spring practice. We have so many people here, and the way you guys cover us, it means a lot to us. So appreciate you guys.
All right, we're going to open up third row left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors. Ryan, we saw Marv out there taking some reps at returner. Just kind of what's the thought process there?
Yeah, with Emeka not going this spring, we're just going to put a bunch of guys back. It's hard when we're inside, so looking at the weather, I'm hoping to get outside some, and that'll give us a better feel for it. But always looking to build depth there at returner, and he's been doing it now, kind of in practice a little bit here and there, and he's got really good depth perception, and so if we need him back there, we'll use him, and so. Not having a few guys at spring practice allows us the opportunity to, try new guys, to build depth down the road, and that's always healthy. But, I thought just seeing him back there today did a nice job.
Is this a time where you look at a guy like Marv and think, what else can we do to find even more ways to get him the ball?
Yeah, absolutely. We moved him around today, did a bunch of things with him. We want him to grow as well. And everybody kind of comes into spring with a different plan of what they want to get done. We don't want to just be the same old stuff for Marv, so we're going to try to build his tools and his package.
Front row, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Ryan. When you look at your depth at various positions, on both ends of the spectrum, what are you happy with as far as the depth at certain positions, and what are you kind of concerned about at certain positions?
I think when you look at our depth, I guess we'll start on offense, running back, receiver. I think that's pretty strong there. At tight end, we're building that depth. I feel pretty good about that. This is the first time we've had 3 quarterbacks, and we'll have a 4th one coming in the summer. I can't remember. It's been a while since we've had that many quarterbacks in, on scholarship. So that's good. Offensive line is certainly some guys we've got to replace and build that. So that's an area where we got to focus on. On defense, up front, I feel good about the first group and a half, and I think we got to keep building the 2s and 3s. But we have some good young players there. Linebacker, again, same thing. I feel good about the first 3 or 4 guys, and then we got to keep building the depth there. Safety is something we brought Jihad in, and we brought Davidson in at corner, so that helped with the depth. But I think we'll get a better feel for where everybody's at going into this year, probably by the time we get back from spring break and I get to put that first weekend, the first scrimmage on Saturday, we'll have a better idea there. But we're always trying to build depth because we know we're going to need it. We talk about this type of thing this time of year, and then we get in the preseason of, how are you going to get all these guys playing time? Yet eventually they all get into the game, So some areas, as they have experience, game experience. Others, we're trying to get that in practice.
Sonny Styles, real quick, is he a guy that you look at? It's like we have to get a role for him. He needs to be a starter, or is he not there yet?
I mean, you've seen what he can do in his first year. So yeah, I mean that he's we're always trying to find the first 11 guys, and then we kind of build it from there. And he's in the role that he played last year, stepping in after reclassifying and coming here in the summer. I couldn't have been more impressed with what he did. I think he's got a really, really bright future ahead of him. I think he can do a lot of things for us. So as we start to get into the spring, we're going to dive into some of the things that he can do for us. But he is a playmaker, and he's going to play a lot of football.
Hey folks, let's try to do one and done unless your follow-up pertains to your initial question. I just want to be able to get as many questions as possible. Clay Hall, WSYX.
The Ole Miss transfer you mentioned, Davison.
Yeah.
Cornerback. You expect him to start, or have any idea about that?
I mean, I think he wants to compete, so he's gonna, and he'll have a great opportunity. And first day in the books today, so it's good. When you go through 8 weeks of a off-season program, it allows guys to build discipline and camaraderie and strength and a lot of things. But now it's time to go on the field, and without a great 8 weeks of off-season, it's hard to have a good spring. But so many guys did. He came in, stepped in, and did a nice job establishing himself, early on. And that's something that, coming in from another program is not always easy to do. So he's done a good job of that. But it's gonna be a good competition. I've been impressed with the off-season that some of these guys have had. I thought, Denzel's really, had a really good 8 weeks and had a really good first day today. So I think that's been great. Seeing Jordan out there, Davidson will be out there. I mean, we got some good, good guys back there, and I think they're all growing up. And so, as we know, I mean, that was an area that we got to make sure that we really take a big step in. And so it was a good first day today. We'll take a look at the film.
Right behind him, Adam King, WBNS 10 TV.
C.J. Stroud said at the Combine he wished he had used his athleticism a little more in college, run a little more. And I guess that kind of leads me to wonder, what is the ideal quarterback, when it comes to the vision of running versus passing? And then where does the quarterback race stand right now?
Yeah, just day one in the books. But I think when you're looking at the, ideal thing, there isn't really an ideal. I think anytime a defense has to account for the quarterback, then you've got what you want done, in the run game, certainly. In the pass game, when you can create, extend, those type of things, it really, it's really the X factor, I think, on offense is when the quarterback can do that. So, you got to get a feel for what that is. How long do you stay in the pocket? When do you escape? When do you launch yourself for that first down? When do you protect yourself? Because it's a long season. There's a lot of factors and variables that come into it. And each quarterback's a little bit different. So, you think about, since I've been here, you had JT. That was a certain one. Then you had Dwayne. He kind of found his way, in that Maryland game. Then you had Justin. I think it was the first game he had he pulled one for a long touchdown run, and then kind of went on from there. And then CJ, and now we'll have a new chapter here. So each quarterback has a different style, but ultimately that's what you're trying to get done. You're trying to equate numbers in a run game, and then have the ability to extend when applicable in the pass game.
With the quarterback race, how do you kind of set that up going into spring?
Yeah, those guys are going to compete and get a bunch of reps, and that's what's great. And we're running 3 groups right now, so there's a lot of reps to go around. And just first couple of days here, and then we'll go on break, and then we'll come back and really dig in.
Far right field, Justin Holbrook, WCMH.
What's your relationship like with Coach Knowles, year 1 and year 2, having that full spring season, and now what are you looking for specifically that maybe you didn't think about last spring?
Great relationship. He, for me now seeing a full year of the defense, how it is installed, what it looks like, how it adapts over the year and the season, and then how it has the ability to adapt based on your personnel. So more familiar with it and, able to give more feedback.
Front row right, Austin Ward, Rivals, dotting the I's.
Ryan, I don't know what you have it officially, but it seems like maybe the scholarship numbers on defense right now, the guys you have available, like maybe 29 or 30. Is that enough for you to do everything you want in spring, or is that something that changes plans? I'm just thinking like go and do inside drill. You don't want that number to get any smaller, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, it's going to be good in preseason to get some of those guys who are coming in the summer here. But when you look at our numbers right now, we were able to run 3s. If we get some guys nicked up, we'll have to adjust, and that's something that's happened in the past. But right now, our numbers are pretty good. So, looking to have a healthy spring and hopefully continue to play with 3 groups.
The same thing on offense with what you have Dallin and Chip to go, but Evan's still working back, Trave's still working back. Like a lot of reps for them, that's a benefit. But does it allow you to get done with the rushing attack what you want?
Yeah, I think so. And I think so much of it starts up front, and then preseason will be big. We kind of look at the 2 spring and the preseason as an extension of or together. So practice 1 of the preseason is really like practice 16 of spring practice. So while we're not going to have some of those guys, there's still a lot of work to be done. And again, it allows us opportunity to build some depth, and then look to get some guys back and get them in game shape as we head into preseason.
Right next door, Tim May, Letterman Row.
Ryan, it appeared, and of course we don't get to watch whole practices very much, but it appeared you were roaming a little bit more. Are you moving more into that head coach, kind of like see the whole field, so to speak? Practicing. What
I started the first half of practice I was, and then before you know it, I was down there.
Really?
I was right back to where I was most of the year last year. But yeah, I'm trying to do more of that the best I can, and see it all. We have some technology where we're able to watch practice on a little bit of a iPad, and then kind of watch it. And I was able to do a little bit of that and kind of bounce around a little bit. So the more I can do that, I think the better right now in spring.
Yeah. Did you feel good? Did you like it though? I mean, doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you have a bigger lens on everything, and you're able to see, from a big picture view. But it doesn't take long before I'm running over there and coaching up the quarterbacks. Yeah.
Right next door, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, we saw Mitchell Melton out there doing some drills with the defensive lineman. He's somebody you obviously didn't get to play last year. Just we're seeing his recovery and how's he coming along. And
Yeah, he's been cleared for individual drills, but we're going to kind of hold him to that for I think the majority of the spring, if not all the spring. We'll kind of see how that goes, but we're hoping he can make an impact for us this year. He had a really, before the injury, we were excited about him, what he was doing. So he's got really good pass rush ability and really good strength and play speed. So we just got to be smart and make sure we're bringing him back the right way.
Second row middle, Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com.
Obviously, in the window that we saw today, a lot of just sort of basic quarterback stuff as you're kind of getting things started. I was curious, is there a break today between things like that and when you get more competitive with it into more decision-making things? And how do you fold that into the spring? Because I assume that's going to be a huge part of the evaluation.
Yeah, huge. The first few days without pads on is really just building the foundation. And anytime we've gone away from that, we feel like it's been counterproductive. You still kind of have to build and paint the bridge the right way. So that's what today was all about. Day one install really hasn't changed for 7 years here. We'll continue to do that and build it as we go. But quickly, as we get back after break, there'll be a lot of competitive situations and winner-loser days.
When you come back from break, that first Saturday is the first scrimmage?
Yeah. Yep, that's the plan. Was that the 25th, I think, right? That'd be a scrimmage. Is that the 25th?
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the plan.
Right behind him, Tony Gerben, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan, the offensive tackle situation looked like Josh Pryor maybe starting out on the left side. As you were roaming around, how much were you watching the tackles, and what do you see from them this spring, and how comfortable do you feel with what you've got there?
Well, we moved Josh to left. We felt like he had enough experience. He felt comfortable making that move. We'll see how that goes as we start to put the pads on it. It's hard with no pads, just point of contact. But watching him move his feet, that was really good. We see Zen and Integra, at the other side, and so watch the film, kind of see where they're at. Carson's at center there, Vic's at center. So first day, it's kind of hard to tell, but I don't think anybody looked out of place. And they're going against a good front, JT and Jack and Tyleek and Ty. We're gonna get a great evaluation as we head through 15 practices.
Fourth row right, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, it looked like Dallin's bulked up a little bit, put a little bit of weight. I think the roster has him 8 pounds heavier. I don't know if that's accurate, but what did you see from him this winter that makes you think that he's ready to take the next step, especially with Trey and the head of being out this spring?
Anytime you come in that first year and you get thrown to the fire like he did, there's a lot going on for you. I thought he handled himself really well, and when we needed him, he stepped in and played. Anytime you're into year two, like you said, physically, you get stronger. Emotionally, you understand it better. Mentally, you understand the scheme better. So it just starts to slow down, and you're able to play faster. And so into year two with game experience under his belt. So hopefully all those things add up to more playing time, more production.
Apprehension is the right word, but it seemed like there was some hesitancy to play him a little bit down the stretch there in the season. But what do you need to see from him this spring that kind of clears those concerns and makes you think, okay, he could be a guy that we need to rely on?
Just keep building. Just being consistent with assignments and knowing exactly what you're doing in the pass game and a run game across the board, and all indications are he's going to be able to do that.
Second row right, Bill Landis, Rivals.
Ryan, you have a second-year group of receivers that didn't play a whole lot last year. Sounds like they're going to have opportunity in the spring with Emeka and Julian now. Just what are you looking from that group that's going to tell you that they're making the right strides? Yeah, the truth is they're going to get really pushed by this freshman group. The 3 guys that came in have made it already an impact. We've been very impressed with them, and then Brandon coming in this summer. So, this is going to be a really good opportunity with Emeka out, Julian out. We're going to be smart with X and with Marvin. Those guys have played a lot of football. So, like you said, what an unbelievable opportunity for all those guys to step in and play. And so this is a very, very big spring for them.
Right next door, Doug Lamreese, Cleveland.com.
Fine, it's day one, but Jelani Thurman, just looking at him out there, the size and the way he moves, you don't want to put too much on a young guy, but just when you see it and what you know in recruiting, what are the possibilities there?
Yeah, I'm. Again, it's hard to tell early on, but he has all the tools. Tight end is a developmental position. There's a lot that goes on with tight end. I mean, you're talking about you got protection, you got blocking, you got route running. I mean, there's a lot going on in day one for a tight end. But all the tools are there. His mentality and competitiveness we've seen in the last 8 weeks. So, this is a guy who just needs a ton of reps. And the more reps he gets, the better he's going to be. But all the tools are there.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Brian, just looking at the stat sheet or the roster, you see Davison's measurements, and that stands out for a cornerback. When you see him out there, he really stands out. What does being a corner of his size give you, maybe both advantages and disadvantages?
Physicality, you see for sure. You can see even today. I saw a couple. I have to watch the film where he got his hands on guys, and that length, like you said. Once you get your hands on him, when you have that type of length, it makes it hard for the receiver. Also, being a zone corner and having that type of length and size allows you to cover more ground and get your hands on more balls. So, and for him, he's got experience to play in the SEC as a freshman. So, I think that helps with his confidence.
Far right here, Kellyanne Stitz, WSYX.
Going back to the quarterbacks, what are you looking for specifically with them that would give you confidence that they could run this offense?
I think the first thing is leadership. You have to be felt and heard. And I did that today. That was a really encouraging thing. I heard, even maybe after a good play or a bad play, it didn't matter. Good leadership out there, because at the end of the day, it's our job to as quarterbacks to lead the team and to drive teams down, or drive the team down the field and score touchdowns. And being that leader is critically important. I feel like we're going to have a great supporting cast. So. The quarterback doesn't need to be superhuman. He just needs to do his job, make routine plays routinely, and then it'll build from there. But the number one thing we're looking for is leadership and toughness.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Travion had foot surgery, obviously, in, I think, December, and he was not expected to do anything. He was out there, at least, he didn't do the individual drills, but he was out there at least running at the start of warm-ups. Where does he stand right now, and what do you see from him so far?
We've had to keep him out of things. There's been a time where he jumped in mat drills with the boot on. He's dying to get out there. He's very competitive. So, yeah, Mick had to grab him and take him out a couple times, I think. But he's itching to get out there, and he's not ready to go right now. We'll continue to evaluate as we go, but I think his rehab's gone well, and his attitude's been unbelievable. I think the guys appreciate his positiveness, because when you get injured and you get down, it can wear on you a little bit. But you haven't seen that with him. He's been a positive influence to his teammates and to his unit. So. He's had a really good offseason, especially with his rehab. So we're anxious to get him back on the field soon. I just don't know if it'll be this spring yet.
Second row left, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You guys have done this in the past where guys are early enrolled, they're still heavily involved in what's going on. With Lincoln not being here, is he one of those guys, is Brandon, or some of these guys involved, even if they're not here right now?
Yeah, Lincoln is finishing up. I think he's making a run to the state basketball championship. So we're just, making sure he can focus on that. That's important to him. But at the same time, we're also getting him some of the offense. And then once the basketball's over, he'll come in and spend a few days with us watching practice. So I think that'll be good. But with Brandon, he's been getting with Coach Hart and kind of learning the offense. And so we have a plan. Calvin, same thing with Coach Walt. We have a really good plan in place. Guys have to send us some videos of their workouts. We have Zooms and different things. We're learning the offense, defense, and special teams, so that when they get here, they're not far behind. And if you think about between Donovan Jackson, JTT, Sonny, we've had a few guys who've come in the summer and actually made an impact in the fall. And I think it's because of that plan that we have for those guys who aren't here in the spring. Ideally, we like them here in the spring, but it doesn't work out for everybody. And so that's kind of how we get them ready, once they get here in the summer.
Deep center field, Jeremy Birmingham, Letterman Road. I'm sorry, dot the I's, rivals.
It doesn't matter,
Some side.
With Caden Curry, he looks significantly heavier than he did in January. What's the plan for him? I mean, he's obviously playing shield on punt. He's at defensive end. Is he standing up? Where do you see him? Because it seems like he makes plays every time he's on the field.
I thought he came in the last preseason in the first quarter of the season and really, like you said, made plays. Just a tremendous football player. But quite honestly, kind of leveled off a little bit as the season went on. We talked about that. Coach Jay talked to him about that. And then he's really picked it up this offseason. So I think we'll probably have a better feel for that as we get through the spring on where we want to utilize him. But he's got to reestablish himself in that area because he does have the ability. He's got a high motor, makes plays, football player, and like you said, he's done a good job with his body. And I think now into year 2, he's going to really make a push here.
Does that motor make him a fit at the jack position at all, or is it still mostly Sawyer Melton in that sort of role?
Yeah, we're looking at all that. I think, like you said, he has some of those tools, and so we got to find out if that's the right fit for him and what we're asking that position to do. But he does have a lot of those skills that we're looking for in the jack.
Anybody I missed? Anyone at all? Anybody have one last question, Doug, and then Tony? Go ahead.
Just a little more on right tackle. Looked like, again, Zen was first up and Tegra behind him today. But just where are those two young guys at in their careers right now, and what do you look for? How does a young offensive lineman in a job battle try to stand out?
Well, Zen was at left tackle, Tegra was at guard, right guard, and so now they both, kind of taken on that right tackle position. And we spent a lot of time figuring out if that was the right move, but we felt like making Josh the left tackle and then really having those guys compete at right tackle was the right play. It'll take a little bit of adjustment for him, certainly for Tegra, making the move from inside to outside, and then Zen from left to right. But Tegra will be into year 2. Tegra got a lot of 2 reps for us last year. We see a lot of potential in Tegra. I think every rep you get in Tegra is going to pay off in the long run. I think it's a really good investment. I'm hoping that he can, make a push. Zen, this is a big year for him. This is year 3. And so, again, I don't think we'll get an idea until we put the pads on. But even then, we were talking about it as an offensive staff at this time last year, and even to the middle towards the end of spring. Our guys had a hard time blocking our front, and I think they did a great job, closing the gap throughout the summer. And Shu Paris has now got a chance to be a top 10 pick. So there's a lot of work to be done, but certainly those guys are going to have to step up, and this is a great opportunity for them to do it over the next 15 practices.
As a quarterback, what was your thought the first time you saw Devin Brown in 33, and then how does that continue to go through your mind?
I thought of Larry Bird. I don't know why I thought of Larry Bird. No, he came in, asked, and he said that was something that he's done for a while. His family was in something that was important to him, and I said, okay, you're going to stick out a little bit. You all right with that? He said, yeah, and I said, as long as you guys are good with it, I'm good with it. So he's going to take a run at 33. So
this is a big job, one of the bigger jobs in the state. For a guy who is okay with having that, just standing out with that number, what does that say about a quarterback?
I don't know. I know that he's never shied away from competition and never shied away from grabbing onto something. And this is something that he feels strong about, and he wants to, I guess, blaze his own path for that number, and that's good for him. So you think about his recruiting and everything that kind of went on. This is not a guy who shies away from things. So. I got no problem with it.
Coach, thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Yep.